Hey, Farhan. Oh, hello, do you hear me?
Hi, Yuri. Hi. Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
That's perfect. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good as well. Hey, NR.
Hi, how's it?
All good, all good. How are you?
Slowly.
Cool. So I guess we can start. That's maybe like 1 minute more, and we can kick it off. Bradley will not join today, so I think it's all of us. So, all right. Thanks a lot for joining. I will share something soon. Yeah. You see my stuff? Agenda? All good?
Yes.
Yeah, so this Markdown based stuff. Nice. All right. So, news from the last time. I think release was after the latest meeting. So, we got this. It's a security patch release, and it was like from a package standpoint, mostly about mitigating the vulnerabilities in our OCA images, specifically k8gb, accumulated some amount of them. So we patched it and all good now. I think it's already like, some latest vulnerabilities already appeared, but that's obvious progress, right? So we managed to reverse this process of updating the main and underlying images and get a best security report. And thanks a lot to Farhan to the latest update of the website that is also associated with this release because it brought like all the markup and things to the front page. So we have these nice selectors and nice banners and multi-version support for the documentation. It obviously has some uh, rough edges, right? So for example, like it publishes the old tag and the selector is not yet there, but it will organically fix itself. So I think it's not crucial to backport that stuff to all the versions. So now it looks great. Thanks a lot, Farhan. I think in incubating process, it's a relatively calm situation. Today, governance review was merged, technical review was, I think, approved, and we are waiting for the next views and the result of adopters interview. So the progress is great, but currently, are obviously the most of the TOC, CNCF members are mostly busy with preparation for KubeCon. And that is something that is totally uh, expectable. So our optimistic view on that thing that the process will be reactivated after KubeCon, and somewhere mid-year we will achieve the incubating status. All right, so now related to the incubation issues, right? So we have two ones, two of them that are in fly right now. So I'm working on them directly. So OCR registry and repository, most of the PRs are already merged. So like, and thanks a lot, Dinar, for the review of my stuff throughout the week. I really appreciate it. So this is like a pretty global move to the GHCR, GitHub Container Registry, all the preparations, all the pipelines. Yeah, and Farhan, thanks a lot for your feedback. You also participated in the review of this one. Overall, the pipeline is working. All images and attestations are pushed to the JHCR.io, master latest state of the master branch. There is, yeah, it's actually wrong link. So let's find the right one. The last bit is here, something to sort out with scarves there. So thanks, DNR, for raising the alarm on this on the situation with scarves that I didn't realize. So basically in scarf, when you have two separate packages, but apparently they're identical, somewhere they're getting like, deduplicated somewhere in scarf backend. So I had the setup that was pointing to obsolescence, the current, and let's say the ones that we are moving away from, and the GFCR IO, KGB IO, and it looked like four different packages for KGB, for KTest CRD obsolescence, and plus two ones in KGB IO. Everything looks great and pullable, but then something happened and the obsolescence was cut off. I will work with also with Scarfox, like figuring out what are the current ways. But today I got the verbose message that two backends for the same packages are not possible. So I deleted temporarily the JCR ones for the gateway, as they are not in action anyway until we made a funnels front end switch, and this it fixed obsolescence pull through the Scarf gateway. So currently everything should be fine, but I will work with Scarf guys and find a possible way. If it's not possible at all, then we will probably make some form of gradual, sequential, quick switch, something like that. Otherwise, GHTRIO itself mm, seems to be good. Dinar, you have some comments on this one?
Yeah, I wanted to ask if I can use the DHCR directly.
Yeah, you can,
Because
sure. Yeah, you
yeah,
can for sure. Yeah.
because Scarf SH looks like it's a well, I did say that's a gateway, but for the system it looks like a separate registry, and I need to get like a lot of approvals in order to go through
Yeah.
that. So I would like
Yeah.
to have DHCI entry point, not disable it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. We use Scarf for to get more data about companies who are using k8gb, and in your case, we totally aware that you're using it. So and we are not guarding direct GFCR access at all, right? So it's by design. So definitely just use the direct URLs. All right, and now one and most kind of challenging incubating related issue is a switch to vendor neutral group that looks like super straightforward, but in reality it's quite quite problematic because it's API group change, right? And it's pretty breaking. So that's why I tried to directly pull you, Dinar, into the meeting, right? So we can discuss the stuff for this breaking change and get the feedback from overall maintainer and contributor group. But as you will be, Dinar, you will be probably the first person who will test it in production, and it's also obsolescence involved. I think your feedback here will be crucial. So what I'm proposing here, and the implementation is there, but the high level architecture design review file is a part of the PR. So I want to present you the high level idea and what I already considered as possible options, and then get your feedback. So here's the idea, right? The overall goal is to switch from obsolescence to vendor neutral k8gb.io API group, right? So it's a strong requirement by incubating. So I personally procrastinated for multiple years because there is no real function on it, right? But for the maturity of the project, before we reach the incubating stage, it's a good chance to actually flip it and while the sandbox is still fine, right, for the expectations, but it will be much more problematic later. So it's good that we got this feedback from CNCF TOC community members to actually the stronger recommendation is to make the switch as soon as possible before the incubating. So how I try to evaluate that stuff. So I see like a three options: super hard cutover without any compatibility. That will be probably the simplest thing to do, but it's definitely would be super brutal for k8gb current users. So we pretty much rejected this option, right? Like at least like I'm in my mind rejecting it because the hard cutover will break the operation. So we don't want that. We want some form of more smooth migration to be available for our end users. And one of the option would be like kind of probably like one of the most obvious one is a dual write to reconcile both API groups, both objects, but it appeared to be like quite costly, right? So even if we try to reuse as much code as possible, it will be like two different code paths. And I see it as a long-term risk and maybe like even not really something that we should invest our effort into, because imagine we deliver a new functionality, new feature, and then we will have to take care of both code paths, API groups. It's like costly, nasty, and maybe like it's more, it will prolong the migration for more time than we actually want, right? So it will like it will create like a lot of rituals for a relatively straightforward switch. So what I propose like as an option C is to create like this k8gb.io new API group and name it as a canonical, the current version, right? Keep the legacy CRD for the transition and migrate legacy objects to the canonical object with a special controller, right away, right? So our new and next, ideally next k8gb version will take care of the migration. And the user will have everything automatically, so there will be no operational disruption. But we will have the user will have to switch GitOps servers, for example, to the new API version. So you have to end-to-end test that and provide the migration recommendations. So it is the idea here that we will switch to the single source of truth, not two of them, right away. And this decision is not made yet, right? So I'm proposing it right now. I just documenting it in a ADR template. So if we go with option 2, right, so we introduce this new k8gb.io GSLB API group. As the compatibility will be handled by the special migration controller that is part of the release, part of the k8gb reconciliation loop, right? And legacy GSLB object will be from app sources will be converted to the new ones. Legacy object will stay around. It will be labeled with a special migration label, and warning events will be emitted to indicate that this legacy object is not actively reconciled yet. The new one is created, right? And then we basically we will support this installation of both CRDs within this transition window. So positive consequences that the conversion to vendor neutral will be like a super straightforward and will happen immediately. The new consistent target will be established. The existing clusters will not have like, I don't know, operational downtime because the new stuff will be like directly migrated. Obviously, negative parts that we will have additional control logic to maintain. the KGB and the user operators will need to take care of migration resources and update the GitOps pipelines, GitOps configurations, like to switch to the new group. And during the switch, it will be some operational noise from migrating to one to another, but seriously less noise compared to the hard cutoff. So both API groups will coexist temporarily, maybe 1 year, right? Sounds like a safe window, but the main one will be the new k8gb.io, the only one that is going to be reconciled. Somewhere in the documentation we'll have to update everything to new. At the same time, mentioned that the old one will be still migrated, somewhat supported, at least from migration standpoint. And later on we'll have to handle the hard switch, but that's for the later stage. So that's roughly the story. Any questions, feedbacks, comments?
Why do we need to label the legacy upon the migration? Can we just serve the one a new group?
Yeah, we will just effectively we will serve the new group, but the ones that are migrated automatically, AppSources, they will be there labeled and they will be kind of safe for deletion, I would say, to avoid this kind of brutal version of it. Because in this case, I'm trying to be careful. Like, for example, like we have a bunch of GSLBs in fly, right? In action. We are upgrading to the new latest release, like it will be Virus 19, presumably. And then old legacy AppSources GSLBs are actively getting disappeared. I would like to avoid the situation. I would like to keep them around, label them safely, emit the event, at the same in parallel create the new ones, and then the operator can gradually switch to the new ones if they like, right? Or like clean up the orphans. The old ones will not be reconciled anymore, right? They will be like only legacy events. The new ones will be only single source of truth in that scenario. So there will be no conflicts, like no bidirectional thing, no this mess. It will be like just straightforward moves. We are just not aggressively deleting the old ones.
Yeah, so I haven't seen the conversion logic yet.
Yeah.
But the flow would be, from my understanding, is we take the AppSources one, the object, we convert it,
Yeah.
and then if there are no errors, we basically mark legacy one as the migrated with the label, and on the next loop, we simply do not reconcile it.
Right. We just put the label and event that it was migrated to the new API group, and the actual real reconciliation will happen already at k8gb.io, the new API group, the symmetric GSLB that is automatically created from the legacy one.
I'm thinking about, like, if we can take the reverse approach and label legacy objects for the migration. So it's kind of user initiated, right? And the user kind of will check whether they're satisfied, and everything is good. And then in legacy reconciliation, we can use predicates with such label. Like it doesn't, it's vice versa. So we basically will exclude from reconciling the objects which are labeled.
Yeah, that's a good feedback. But in this case, we will have to support the reconciliation of the old group, right? And I kind of I tried to avoid it.
Yeah, but we have to reconcile that either way, or the conversion is a special thing. So the main controller will not reconcile the old group.
Yeah, so in this kind of like a proactive, like a migration case, we are migrating everything, right, to the new one and reconciling the single source of truth. And we are not reconciling the legacy. But if we gate it like with a label, it will mean that we, at that stage, we are still reconciling upside sets, right?
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
yeah, and it will get us back to this option B that I honestly would love to try to avoid, right? To avoid this like a two dual reconciliation.
No, 100%. Yeah, those needs to be. I just wonder if there will be a conversion errors, right? That could
Yeah,
lead to a situation when you
limbo
will be
state. Mm,
kind of half
mm,
migrated, right? And
yeah.
then you don't know. Well, ideally, it's just the version group thingy,
Hmm.
but it could be a garbage around lying, right? And the people might not have been updating those objects for years, and
Hmm.
then this could block the migration. Basically, if you found such object, you basically it's an unknown situation.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good feedback. Also, like it can be anything like new API group is not allowed by Caverna, right? And then, for example, and then the migration is rejected, right? And now we're in super limbo state. Uh-huh. So what about like something in between a mix kind of middle ground between option B and C, like reconcile the legacy group, but not accept updates on the legacy group. And in this case, you'll be able to well, we will be able to either try to this active migration, or we will guard it behind the label, like migrate to k8gb IO, so more user-controlled version. Which I actually like this idea because it gives more power to the user, right? Less surprises.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I need to think more about that.
Mhm.
I really understand. Yeah, I fully agree that we should stop reconciling it, and it's just a API version change. But yeah, in my experience, what garbage users are living
Mhm.
on the clusters, and how that could be even like in a our latest observation was the object stuck in a finalizer, right? So the newer
Mhm.
versions do not finalize, and the
Mhm.
legacy objects still have the finalizer,
All
and
right.
those objects are hanging there for years. And
Uh,
then now imagine you would migrate that thing
mhm.
to a new object. I think that
Mhm.
would fail,
Yeah.
or at least I'm not sure if you for the conversion if you're checking the presence of the deletion timestamp.
No, like deletion is out of the conversion. Deletion is still like on a user in this case, right? So because the legacy object will stay around. Ah, but like you mean in a
You will
case,
try to
yeah,
convert it.
yeah, 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 we will try to convert it, right? Yeah, yeah, true. Hmm.
So yeah, this in this case, I think yeah, it's tricky, but yeah, I fully agree. Option C is a way to go. We just need to be careful
Hmm.
on that. Maybe um, what the other guys did for assert manager, for example, we can have a migration tool, right? Um, scale down the controller, run the migration tool, and and perform the upgrade. So standalone thing outside of the um, outside of the controller.
Yeah, that's one of the options, but like it looks like we can do it with this additional part of the reconciliation and avoid creating like a CLI or like a very extensive procedure. But definitely agree, like we need to enhance the option C with some additional guardrails and document it.
Yeah, if that would be a mass migration, I mean, and we 100% sure that we just copy over, then it's fine. But yeah, maybe a sidecar, I don't know, init container.
Yeah, but what will be the failure modes? Like, for example, like we detect that we cannot migrate for some reason. Then we'll have to reconcile the legacy group. But again, we can make it like, read-only mode, right? We can accept only the new. Can we? I'm not sure. Yeah,
No,
well,
well,
we
you
can.
you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you can mark it as
yeah,
immutable.
yeah. And or like we can emit the event in the controller, right? This is legacy one, switch to this one. We still will act in a transition period. We still will create all the logic, right? Against the legacy. Yeah. Then it's like,
But
yeah. Then it's not a single source of truth, right? Like we try to
yeah, there
try
are
to target.
also the ingresses, right? I mean,
Mm.
there is an ingress source which kind of creates that object in the background, and user usually don't care about its existence. It's
Hmm.
mostly a state, and what happens in kind of those kind of things. Ingress object is actively maintained. So you get it. There is a like you add the paths, you add labels, you whatever, change the certificates
Mm.
and stuff like that. This will try to update the GSLB. And if you stop kind of reconciling it or stop the updates to that object, that also like unknown path.
Yeah. Well,
And
ingress.
yeah, also
Yep.
what to do with the object references. If the object created by ingress objects created by GSLB, right? And
Mm.
that was the default option a long time ago. It's owned by that GSLB. And once you migrate it, you have to update the object reference on that ingress as well.
Isn't it like
It,
vice versa? Just to be so owned by ingress, right?
no, it's
Mm.
ingress owned by GSLB.
Ingress owned by just to be because yeah, that's a old non-reference style. Hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And so in that case, if you migrate but don't delete the don't update the owner reference, and if you delete that old CRD, you're deleting an ingress, and that's the outage for the application.
Right. So
If the
we
k8gb
yeah.
if k8gb kind of down, nobody cares. If ingress
Mm.
is removed,
Yeah.
yeah,
Then
it's
yeah,
an outage.
then it's a user facing. But in this case, well, we never touch deletion, right, as a part of the controller. So this part is actually something can be done by documentation or this special tooling that is also an option. But yeah, this kind of what in my head, like it's old style of a creations actually still makes sense, right? So we need to think to care about them as well.
So maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
CLI would be a better option because in CLI you actually focus on the migration case, right? There will be a dedicated path where you say, what if option A, then B, And during the experience, I don't know, over the 19 version, over 20 version, you collect more and more cases, more feedback, more testing, and then you improve that migration tool before you stop serving the legacy CRD. But the migration is kind of isolated and performed separately outside of the controller. And in a controller, we just read-only apps OSS. We do the migration. Not the migration, we emit warning saying this is group duplicated and be removed in further versions. And we're serving the k8gb IO.
Yeah, I think like we actually can kind of recommend and require to switch to the newest version of the things like reference style before the migration to handle the more up-to-date case, right? So like, instead of old style, ingress creation, migrate to reference style, we can document that and only then switch to the latest API group. We can narrow it
Honestly,
down.
to us, it's not possible. I would say
Oh,
straight.
interesting.
It's like chasing the teams to perform their pipeline updates. It's possible. We've been in such cases where for the different cases like ingress API migration, right, to V1. It took a year and a half until we did the switch off, the cut over. And then I think there were like 20 teams complaining, rising an incident. They were still not up to date. So that's kind of for us. I do understand that the upstream shouldn't care about such cases, but to us it will be complex. So we'll have to deal with that with I don't know, Cavern or something else.
Oh, that's a great feedback. Thanks a ton. So what like I will try to do, like please check the current implementation when you have time, and the possible happy path, at least for me, from implementation standpoint, is to try to catch these edge cases that you described within the controller, if it's possible, right? And only then, when we realize that it's totally not possible to handle with this like embedded additional migration loop, and then switch to CLI, because I would really like to avoid to handle like additional artifact. It's like seriously less elegant, let's say. So yeah. So let's try to find the mix of like a middle ground between option B, option C, toward to option C as an end goal, right? But handling these additional use cases that you just described.
And we want to stay on a V1 beta one, right? So we don't want to bump to a V1 as kind of also an indicator that this is kind of a new, even stabilized API.
If you do it, we do it later, probably like incubating, because V1 means like, the shape of the API is almost set in stone and it will never change. And I don't think we can guarantee that, right?
Well, no, V1 is just yet another V. I mean,
obviously it can be V2 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do agree that not many projects are using that, but there are quite a few which have like V2, V3. But either way, cool. I'm saying I will take a look at the proposal. We'll see what I can find there. But
cool.
That will be tricky.
Cool. Thank you so much. And if you can also like add the PR feedback in the PR, like a short messages, what we discussed later on during the review. That would be so super helpful for me to like, iterate on that one as well. And if anything like else also pops up during evaluation, like really super useful. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the feedback. That was super productive and helpful. And we already consumed the whole meeting and more. So thank you guys. Really appreciate your time and see you in a couple of weeks. Cheers.
Have
Bye-bye.
fun.
Thank
Bye.
you.